Marianne Rodriguez had always been a curious woman, always reading between the lines, looking for patterns where others saw none. Over the years, her fascination with the unknown had morphed into a deep obsession with conspiracy theories. It started small, secret societies, government cover-ups, but then it grew, spiraling into something far darker. It was during one of her late-night listening sessions, scanning through the static-filled frequencies of her old radio, that she first noticed it, a faint rhythmic pulsing like a heartbeat buried beneath the music. At first, she dismissed it as interference, but it always appeared at the same moment, right when a song from Vanilla, the new pop sensation, started to play. Vanilla was the latest idol to sweep the nation. She was young, beautiful, and adored by millions of fans, especially teenagers and young adults. Her songs were catchy, almost hypnotic, with lyrics that seemed to stick in your head long after the music stopped. But for Marianne, there was something wrong with Vanilla's music, something sinister. It took months of listening, rewinding tapes, and obsessing over every beat, but Marianne finally pieced it together. The songs were laced with subliminal messages, inaudible whispers beneath the surface. She couldn't quite make out the words, but she felt them, commands, suggestions, steering the listener's thoughts and desires. And Vanilla's music wasn't just playing on the radio, it was everywhere on TV, in commercials, in stores. It was inescapable. Marianne tried to tell her family. She called her daughter Anne and her son David, explaining her discovery in frantic, desperate phone calls. But they didn't believe her. They thought she was spiraling into another one of her conspiracy theories, this time fueled by paranoia and old age. Anne begged her to stop, telling her that the stress wasn't good for her. David stopped answering her calls altogether. They were worried, not about Vanilla, but about Marianne. Undeterred, Marianne dove deeper. She collected recordings of Vanilla's songs, playing them over and over, scribbling down notes and diagrams in her cluttered living room. The pulsing, the whispers, they were all there, clear as day to her, yet invisible to everyone else. She reached out to others in the conspiracy theory community, but they too thought she'd gone too far. Then, one night, she heard something terrifying. The pulsing in Vanilla's newest song grew louder, more insistent. Marianne swore she could finally understand the words beneath the music. They weren't just random whispers, they were commands.
Follow, obey, worship.
Marianne's hands shook as she realized the horrifying truth. The music was brainwashing people, controlling them without their knowledge. The young were being molded into mindless followers. She tried to call Anne again, but this time Anne didn't even pick up. A few days later, Marianne's family arrived at her doorstep. Anne looked somber, while David seemed frustrated. They gently told her they were worried about her, that she needed help. Marianne pleaded with them, showing them her notes, her tapes, but they wouldn't listen.
You're not well, Mom. You need to rest.
Marianne's protest fell on deaf ears as they led her out of the house. They brought her to a quiet facility, a place where they said she could get the help she needed. The sterile white walls of the asylum felt suffocating. No radio, no connection to the outside world. Her theories, her warnings, they were all dismissed as the ramblings of a madwoman. But Marianne knew she wasn't crazy. Days turned into weeks, and Marianne's isolation deepened. The nurses were polite but distant. Her family stopped visiting. And yet, even in the silence of her new home, she couldn't stop thinking about the music. It was everywhere now, on the radio, in the halls of the asylum, echoing faintly from the televisions in the common rooms. Vanilla's face was plastered on every screen, her voice in every speaker. Then one day, as Marianne sat by the window of her room, she saw them. Anne and David, walking through the garden with their children. They looked happy, content. But something was wrong. As they approached the table to sit down with her for a visit, their eyes seemed empty, glazed over.
Are you ready, Mom?
What do you mean, Anne?
To follow, obey, and worship.
Marianne's heart sank as the realization hit her like a punch to the gut, as they started to hum one of Vanilla's songs under their breath, moving in perfect sync with the beat. Her children, her grandchildren, they were already gone. The music had taken them. No one believed her. No one cared. The truth had been staring them in the face, and now it was too late. The world outside had fallen under Vanilla's spell, one song at a time. As the faint echoes of Vanilla's latest hit played through the asylum, as Marianne screamed in daft madness trying to reach for her family, The men and women in white grabbed her, sedating her. As the world around began to blur and dark, she realized the truth. She was the last person who knew, and soon she would be silenced and forgotten.